Folks, I've got good news. All right, I'm cutting into PragerU's territory. Listen. What you are about to watch right now is a free taste of a university exam, okay? If you watch this, you will enrich yourself intellectually, all right? And emotionally, possibly, depending on how evocative my language is. This will be exactly like a full 4-unit course at a university distilled into a short conversation. I am going to be giving this lesson, however, not to the people in my chat. You're just the audience to this free lesson I'm giving out. I'm giving it to conservatives, okay? Because I'm, getting really tired of repeating these arguments. Ben Shapiro got triggered today on Twitter, as is often his job. You see, Joe Biden over here saying that he thinks the officers involved in the shootings of Jacob Blake and Breonna Taylor should be charged. What a hot take. And Ben Shapiro responds with, there is literally no justification for this position given the facts currently known. This is inflammatory garbage. You know. Again, Ben Shapiro, who literally gloats over the death of a young black man who calls for the bombings of Palestinian people, very concerned with the sensational and the irresponsible rhetoric of Joe Biden. There was an open warrant on Jacob Blake for sexual assault and domestic abuse. Cops were called to the scene because a prior sexual assault victim called them and alleged that Blake had digitally raped her with her child in the room. He resisted arrest, leaned into the car, and a knife was found on the floorboards of the driver's side. In the Breonna Taylor case, the evidentiary basis for the no-knock warrant, as shown by the leaked Louisville police report, was strong. They knocked, they were fired upon, and returned fire. This was a tragedy and a nearly impossible legal case to pursue. Guys, I've got some excellent news, okay? Are you fucking ready for it? This is, to you conservatives, arguments you should stop making every time people die to police, okay? Are you ready for it? See, I thought conservatives were supposed to be the big dick, pro-freedom, states' rights, individual liberty champion of America. I thought it was, in fact, the lefties, the Democrats, the Antifa, who wanted to submit to the power of the state. But holy fucking shit, dude. You know, I don't know if COVID-19 spreading amongst the conservative communities that don't think wearing masks is a necessity has done something to dampen their taste. But the bootlicking that has been going on amongst Republicans lately has been fucking insane. So let's be super clear about something, because I see this pattern being repeated over and over and fucking over and over and over and fucking over again, is this. So first of all, and I need to be perfectly clear about this, okay? Whatever a person has done in the past has nothing to do with the facts of the case concerning a police shooting, okay? Literally nothing. It doesn't matter if George Floyd did a porno. It doesn't matter if he was a felon. It doesn't matter if he was a mass murderer. It doesn't matter if Jacob Blake had just finished raping millions of people. Impressive, if nothing else. It doesn't matter. Do you know what the job of the police is? Well, they have a lot of jobs, but in this respect, they have one job. If a person is suspected of committing a crime, it is their responsibility to bring that person in alive so the legitimacy of that charge can be determined by a jury of their peers. Police are not executioners, they are not judges, and they are not juries. They are not a part of the judicial system. It is not their job to change their behavior based on the evidentiary case against the person they are bringing in. They are agents of the state whose responsibility it is to bring a person to the judicial system, flawed as it may be. So when police officers kill somebody, as they often do here in America, they should only be doing it if there is absolutely no other way whatsoever to bring them to the courts. Here in America, we have virtually no training we require of our officers. What do? They do a little day school. You get a little 2-day camp retreat out in the mountains where they teach you how to chokehold little saplings. Nothing. In other countries, European countries, these people are A, paid better, B, trained harder, C, regarded with a much greater degree of scrutiny in the actual hiring process. Much greater degree of scrutiny. Now, Europe's not perfect. In fact, fuck Europe, right? Agreed. But in Europe, they are freer than you, Americans, in one very specific way. They do not have to constantly worry about whether or not they are going to have to play a game of Simon Says with a cop or die. That doesn't happen in Norway. That doesn't happen in Germany. That doesn't happen in Le France. That doesn't happen over there. Or at least if it does, it happens way, way, way less frequently. Over here in America, just fucking, you could be pulled over, especially if you're black. Let's not forget. If you get pulled over on the side of a road and a cop comes at you, Simon Says, put your hands on the wheel. Simon Says, reach into your back pocket to retrieve your wallet so you can show me your ID. Quick, now bring me that ID. I didn't say Simon Says. This is a unique experience. Over here in America, fuck. Oh, it hurt my neck. Oh, whew. That's an American experience, okay? We do that. Other countries do that. So, like 100th as often as we do. I'm not saying, by the way, that police should never kill people. Sometimes police do have to kill people. Sometimes there's an emergency. Sometimes there's an armed threat. There are sometimes very legitimate instances where the police have a lethal threat to their person that they have to address. That's undeniable. Was George Floyd a lethal threat to the police officers that were surrounding him? No. George Floyd could have been brought to a jury of his peers to answer for the sickening crime of what did he counterfeit a $20 bill? I don't even fucking remember. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what he did. It's the jury's job to decide where he spends his life, not the police. The police are only there to bring him from A to B. Jacob Blake. Evidently, Jacob Blake was accused of engaging in sexual assault or digitally raping people at the household that he was leaving. Of course, this is Ben Shapiro saying it, so I don't believe shit that comes out of his mouth. But here's the cool thing. Even if that's true, it doesn't fucking matter. It does not matter. Jacob Blake was unarmed. He was calmly walking around a group of officers who had all drawn firearms on him. Any number of things could have happened to have prevented Jacob Blake from entering his car. There was a knife in Jacob Blake's car? Are you fucking kidding me? You fucking pussies. First of all, the police didn't know there was a knife in that car, so it's irrelevant. Police officers can only be expected to operate on the evidence they have at hand. Third of all, I thought we lived in fucking America. The United States of America. We can keep guns in our cars in America, depending on what state you live in and what licenses you have. So what, anytime anybody enters any facility under any pretense, you could conceive of, don't let him get too close to that dresser. There could be a gun in the top gun. You can't. You pussies. You fucking pussies, dude. First of all, quit crying over a knife. Fuck you. There were like 7 dudes with guns surrounding him, okay? And judging by how much of a distance those cops were, I don't know if those cops were really worried about COVID-19. All those cops surrounding Jacob Blake as he was walking around the car, those motherfuckers clearly did not want to apprehend that guy. I have no idea why they were standing so far back, okay? Police should be trained to de-escalate. What those cops did was wait until they had a legal excuse to kill him. That's not good cop behavior. That's not. It's simply not. Your job isn't to wait patiently like a hunter in the brush until the person who you're supposed to be arresting puts themselves in a position where there is a conceivable chance of them procuring a weapon on you. Your job as a cop, if you want to apprehend them, is to fucking apprehend them. So you can bring them to a jury so the jury can determine the validity of the crimes they have been charged with. It's that simple. He walked around that car slowly. Nothing justifies what happened there. Grabbing him from the back of the shirt and shooting him 7 times in the back. They could have stopped him. If you're so worried about his behavior in the fucking car, if you're so worried about him having a weapon, why'd you let him walk around the entire car? If you followed me around, if a bunch of fucking tactical Secret Service agents followed me around, I'm pretty sure if they follow me on a walk, I'm at the park, I walk back home, I walk in the house, I get near a kitchen drawer, and now they jump out and start shooting me. There could be a gun in that drawer. No! If you're going to apprehend somebody, you do it in such a way as to minimize the threat to the person who is meant to be brought in. Anytime a conservative says, well, they had a history of doing blank and a record of, you know for a fact that A, this person is a garbage human being, B, they know nothing about the legal system, and C, these people jerk off every single night to the thought of fucking camcording a police shooting from the top of their apartment. Ben Shapiro's fucking penthouse apartment, wherever the fuck he lives, I think he lives in LA, he masturbates every single day, imagining that he can look out that window and fucking look down with his fucking iPhone 11 and zoom in so he can watch cops beat the shit out of a black guy and then shoot him because the black guy reached up desperately towards the light in a last-ditch effort to plead for his humanity in the face of the cops, and the cops interpreted that as him trying to grab their fucking gun. Okay? That's what they care about. Anytime you cite the previous record of somebody killed by police, anytime you do that, he was no angel bullshit, what you're indicating is you don't actually give a fuck about police brutality, and you don't give a fuck about liberty. This is fundamentally an issue of liberty. This is an issue of your fundamental rights against the state. We want to apply the standard to literally every single fucking person who gets responded to with police violence. I would love to, but police never actually do any of this shit to wealthy white people. But you want to do this? How many people associated with the Republican Party, with the Trump administration, have criminal records? How many of them are suspected of doing X? How many of them have charges against them for sexual assault? How many of them have accusations against them? We want to do this for every single fucking person? Because even if those motherfuckers, even if fucking Robert Stone, even if they got pulled over by the police, even if something happened to them, I would not be going, well, they had to do that because, well, if you look at his record, no. It's this simple. I'm giving you the hot legal takes, okay? None of it is relevant. Absolutely none of it is relevant. None of it. Only the facts of the interaction between the perp and the cop. And it is the cop's job to bring them safely to a jail cell. And if the cops fail in that because the person dies, the cops fucked up. Unless there was literally no other way. If a cop pulls somebody over and the guy fucking opens up his door and pulls out a fucking gat and starts firing at the cop car, sure, the cop can fire back. Okay, fine, great, cool. That's not what's happening in these cases. That's not what's going on here. We are the only country that has this issue, the only developed country that has this issue. Our prison population is higher both per capita and in total numbers than any other fucking country on earth. How? Well, the real answer, how, is because of private prisons and because lobbying from those private prisons to increase both the number of crimes and the sentencing length of those crimes because they profit from it. It's to make people money. That's the actual reason why, by the way. It's not just because we hate black people. It's because we hate black people and we want to make a lot of fucking money off their suffering. They already tried to restrain him before he broke out. Did you see the second angle? Yeah, and then they just let him walk around slowly, completely unarmed around that car. He like wiggled his way out of a fucking interaction. You're like, well, time to train our guns on him for the next 82 seconds until he does something that could conceivably be interpreted as a threat to our lives. No! Stop him! These are police officers! They are trained! This is their job! I would expect this from a fucking civilian task force. You can make mistakes there. Cops are such fucking pussies, bro. Soldiers face far more deadly conditions in their job, and they have to meet much higher standards for engagement with their combatants. Soldiers have to go through a fucking 18-step process to make sure it's legal for them to fire on people. They can be in an active war zone, okay? And they still have to. Soldiers in the military, in war zones. And if they don't do that, if they fuck up, they can be court-martialed. What happens to cops in America who shoot somebody when they didn't have to? Do we court-martial them? Well, they're not soldiers, they're civilians. They're civilians. Paid leave or promotion, or they get moved to a different department. I would much rather have veterans police civilians. Oh, 100%. Oh, yeah, 100%. The degree of training, of forethought, of responsibility for your average American veteran is significantly higher than the dipshit fucking 85 IQ high school bullies who go get a job as a cop because they want to beat up all the people who they think took Stacy away from them before prom. Okay? Absolutely, I would take veterans over those people. 100%. People who have had de-escalation training, people who have had firearm training, people who have actual standards for engagement. Yeah, 100%. Easily. And even if we did that, they still wouldn't even come close to the standards that we can meet with police officers over in Europe. Aren't many cops veterans? Wait, I'm sorry. I should clarify. I would like it if cops had a similar level of training and on-the-job engagement expectations that we expect from veterans. There we go. Sorry. Not just that they're veterans, but also that we implement a degree of responsibility that is similar to what we do with American soldiers. We don't do that. We don't do that. Our cops are thugs. Our cops are gang members. That's what they were originally, you know. Back in ye day, that's what cops were. That's what they did. Cops were just groups of armed thugs that would have their ownership and responsibilities transferred between wealthy businessmen and political moguls in big cities. That's how it used to be. The cops weren't like this big city force. It was literally just like a group of thugs who were owned by the mayor or by other people who held local political office. That's what their job was. And eventually we consolidate, we give them proper titles, we give them proper uniforms. The standards haven't really changed. Standards haven't really changed much at all. Not really. Certainly not the expectation. And yeah, and we can continue this into perpetuity. We can do this forever, you know. We can do this no matter how many people in this country die. There is no number of people who die to police brutality in this country. There is no threshold that conservatives will look at and think, oh, maybe we have an issue here. Because to them, it's the power they care about. And also, because a lot of the people who are pushing out that propaganda know there's no chance of them ever being apprehended by a police officer. A lot of the wealthy fucking people who own the media networks, Murdoch fail sons, these people, they know for a fucking fact the police will never come for them. Police don't meaningfully challenge the interests of wealthy people, not in any way, shape, or form. So they get to push that propaganda, and the working class eats it the fuck up. Because the working class, every working class person in America knows one good cop. If you're white. If you live in a small town, you know the cops in your town. If you've had good interactions with the police because you have money, or because you've interacted with them in a positive sense, or because you live in a decent neighborhood, or because you went to school with somebody who then later became a cop, you know a good cop. And that cop is a good cop, and they're a decent person. And that's true, there are cops who are decent people. But that doesn't really speak to the system. I'm sure there are, you know, probably fucking, and this is a very hyperbolic comparison, I recognize that, but I want to pull the example to its extreme. There are probably individually good people in the Wehrmacht, you know? 15-year-olds who got drafted, just wanted to make their mom proud, you know? Individually, sure. You pull them out of space and time, knock the crazy Nazi cap off their head, put them here in America, give them a job, you know, selling candy at a candy store. Maybe be a good person. But we're not really talking about the individual moral worth of these people. We're talking about what the system does. We cannot allow conservatives to pretend that they give a shit about liberty as long as they are willing to invoke the history of a suspected criminal as an argument in favor of their extrajudicial execution. We absolutely can't do that. And anytime somebody pulls that they were no angel shit, you know for a fucking fact that they do not care. And I don't think they care either, by the way. But then again, I have met conservatives who legitimately seem to be stupid enough to believe they're levying arguments like in favor of their position as opposed to just engaging in bad faith. I have actually seen people who act like that. They're like, wow, you would actually defend a rapist? You've seen that, right? In the comments? You would actually defend a rapist? Yes, I would. Because that person should be tried by a jury. I'm defending them against extrajudicial execution. Oh, you would defend a pedophile? Yes, they should be judged by the jury. Yes, I'll defend them against extrajudicial execution. And I won't defend them if they're tried by the criminal justice system. We are rapidly approaching a point in this country, I believe, where the criminal justice system is becoming irrelevant in the eye of the public. It's becoming a rank formality, and that the real trial, the real the real trial is between the perp and the cop. That right there, the cop is the judge, jury, and executioner. And we've seen what happens when we leave that system to the police. We've seen Kyle Rittenhouse, who killed people and then just walked past cops. Fucking kid holding a rifle, just walking past police officers, you know. And everything that cops will feel justifies violent retribution on the part of BLM protesters. Cops are the judge, jury, and executioners to conservatives, and the reason they're willing to believe that is because the cops will usually come down on their side, in their favor. Yes, if only we could do trial by combat. True. Oh, in case you guys were wondering, kind of offhand, Kyle Rittenhouse's lawyer is a QAnoner who believes that Kyle Rittenhouse has sparked the second American Civil War in Kenosha. So that's cool. I don't know if being a QAnoner should disbar you from practicing law, but I gotta say it's tempting to advocate for that. Holy shit. Hey, he's got to be a Tim Pool fan.